Good morning and welcome. You are here with Bright Lights in our winter Flipside session, Japanese New Year customs. Today we are going to learn about a few traditions and customs that they celebrate in Japanese to welcome in the new year. My name is Renee and I'm joined by my friends Lori, Joe, and Colton. And we're going to work together today to share some info and some fun activities. Before we begin, however, I want to just share a few reminders. First, we're using a webinar format for this session, which means we can't see or hear you. However, when you have a question or you want to respond to something, you can use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen to type your question. We will also be doing a poll later on, and so you will see that pop up on your screen when it's time. Remember, you're only able to chat with the teachers. We're also recording this session and it will be available on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it again with a friend later on. And I'll put that address in the chat window in a little bit. You can also find that on our webpage. Finally, at the end, we'd like you to complete a survey using a QR code that will be on the slide. You can just hold your phone up to it if your parents or grandma and grandpa or whoever are there, and they can activate it, or you'll also receive a link to it from an email after this session, and we would love to hear your comments. So with that, I just want to show you a map of Japan. This star is where we are in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we are flying nearly 6,000 miles to Japan. So it's going to be a very quick trip. Amazing how fast you can fly 6,000 miles. So Japan, here's a closer up look. Japan is a string of islands that is in the Pacific Ocean, east of Asia. And it's part of a chain of 6,852 islands. I had no idea. That was something I learned when I did this. Tokyo is the capital city of Japan, and much of the country is covered with mountains. The highest peak is Mount Fuji, which is also an active volcano. So this is where we are going to be focusing. I am going to throw this over to my friend Joe, who is going to show us some information, share some information with us about Japan and things that they do there. So Joe, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Would you
Do
like
you
me to
have,
have my camera
yeah,
on
go
or?
ahead.
Oh,
You can turn your
sure.
video on if you want to.
All right.
There, so everybody can see you.
Hi.
Say hi, Joe.
Hi.
Everybody's like, hi, Joe. So Joe is a student at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, studying economics and Japanese. So I understand you have some information to share with us about the new year, which I'm sure will be way more exciting than me talking. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you, Joe.
All right. Yeah. So, as you said, I'm a student at UNL. I'm a junior now, so I've got about this semester and then one more year after that. I've been studying Japanese since my freshman year, and I'm by no means an expert on Japan or the culture and the language, but I feel like over these past couple of years, I've gained enough experience that I could share with you guys a little bit what I've learned, and it's actually quite interesting. So I hope you'll enjoy it. I made a little presentation for us to look at about the New Year's and how they celebrate it. So I'll go ahead and share that with you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then if you have any questions as he's going along, boys and girls, you can put that in the chat, and myself or Lori will ask, and then we'll get some answers. So yeah.
All right. So first, this is just an overview. So New Year's is actually the biggest holiday in Japan, and it's celebrated over 3 days instead of just. So it's January 1st till 3rd, and also December 31st, the night before.
Hmm.
Um, and prior to the New Year's, people clean their houses and decorate them to get them all ready and reset to go into the new year. So as you can see over on the right, this is just a mixture of all the different kinds of decorations you might see over a house. And then throughout those 3 days of celebrations, people participate in various activities, such as waking for the first sunrise on January 1st, visiting a local shrine or just any shrine that they'd like to visit on the first day, and then also exchanging postcards with their family, kind of like Christmas cards that we do here. And then lastly, families all gather and eat special meals with very delicious food that they prepared for this celebration. So on New Year's Eve, people tend to go visit their local shrine or temple, like you can see in this right picture here. And some temples have large bells like this one. And if they do, it's rung 108 times. So 8 times for the old year, and then 100 times for the new year. Um, I'm not sure exactly why they chose these two numbers, but I think 8 has quite a bit of significance in Japan. It means like infinite or expanse, kind of like lucky number 7 for us in America. 8 is kind of a lucky number in Japanese culture. And then 100 times for the new year, I think that's just because 100 is also a very iconic number. And then also on New Year's Eve, families stay up late and eat yakisoba, which is this traditional noodle made out of buckwheat. And here's a picture of it. I've only had it like a couple times, but it's very good. I recommend it.
And we said that yakisoba is something that you could, I mean, that's something when you could order here in the United
Hmm.
States, right? That's a traditional,
Hmm.
well, like it
Yeah.
says, noodle that you could get at probably different establishments or whatever. I
Hmm.
like that they're a little bit thicker. They kind of remind me of spaghetti.
Yeah. And also the reason they eat yakisoba on this night is because it's supposed to signal or signify longevity or living a very long, like happy life. So the long noodles are for a long life.
For a long life. I bet during the night, 100 times during the new year, that's a lot of bell ringing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's people who are like, can we just stop at 95? But no, we're going
Yeah.
to go to 100. I think
It'd
that'd be
take quite
cool
a
to hear.
while.
Yeah.
All right.
This is
So next.
Lori, and I would just wanted to mention that I like the idea of cleaning, and maybe our Bright Lights friends, maybe that's a tradition they'd like to help their parents with this for New Year's.
Yeah.
Or
I'm sure that's a
not.
tradition that their parents would definitely
Yeah.
approve.
Yeah. So then next is New Year's Day. And so they've got two main traditions on there. First is Hatsuhi no De, which means the first sunrise. So people will get up early to watch the very first sunrise of the new year. And then after that, they go to Hatsu Mode, which is the first shrine or temple visit, whichever you prefer to go to.
All right, I'm going to stop you there, Joe, because I'm going to try
Mhm.
very hard to pronounce these with you. So will you say the first sunrise for me again?
Hatsu Hi no De.
Hatsu hi no de.
Yep.
All right, so that's the first. And then the second, so the first temple visit,
Hatsu Mode.
Hatsu mo de.
Yep. And you
All
can see
right.
Hatsu's in both of them, and Hatsu means first.
Oh, okay. See there. Now I
Yeah.
can just say Hatsu, so I know first.
Yep.
There we go.
Hatsu.
See, this is great.
Hatsu's first. Okay. And so at the shrines, you can buy these little trinkets called Omikuji and Omamori.
Omikuji, Omamori. Are they are they different types of trinkets? Is that why the words
Hmm.
are different?
Yep. There are two different types, and I've got a couple of slides following this just to show what they are, and I'll explain more of what you do with them or why they have them.
Okay.
So the first one is Omikuji, which is kind of like a little fortune you can see on this paper. So first,
Mhm.
kids will pay like probably like 30 cents or so, and then they get to pull one of these little pegs here, this big box, and in each of these small boxes is an omikuji, which is this piece of paper. And then so this piece of paper has a lot of words on it written in Japanese, so might be difficult to read, but mainly is just a fortune telling. So it'll tell you like what this year will be like for you, like what's going to happen, and it'll have a range of good luck to bad luck. So over here, this chart at the closer you get to the top is the better luck, and then down here at the bottom is bad luck. So right here you can see this little symbol is the same as on this one. So this person got the luckiest omikuji they can get, so the best fortune.
Yeah.
But
And where are the boxes again? You probably said that at the beginning. Where would they go to do these?
at the shrine, you can go
Okay.
to the shrine. They've got like a small little building there where you can go
Mm-hmm.
get one of these. And then, so you might be wondering what you do if you get a very bad luck one. So the great thing about this is that there's no losers. So if you get a bad luck, you can take your fortune and tie it to one of the tree branches at the shrine. And if you do that, the bad luck will go away and you'll be fine for the year. Then
So it's like it kind of
also,
just blows away the bad luck.
yep,
It just
yep,
flies away. I like it.
yeah. And then if you get a good luck one, you can also tie it to the tree branch and it will make it come true for the year. So either way, you're knocking out a winner.
I kind of
Very
like
nice.
that, right? So yes, you're
Mhm.
assured. And I also like that you're not just tied to, much like when we make New Year's resolutions, you're not
Mhm.
tied to that one outcome. You can do something to make a difference. That's cool.
Mhm. Yep. And then next is the Omamori, which these are also just very like pretty looking trinkets that you can get from different shrines that you can attach. They're made of usually like a felt or some sort of cloth with a string, and you can attach it to, say, your backpack or any bag that you want to have, or you can just leave it at home. And here's what a like regular one looks like. It has these little symbols on it, and usually these symbols will change depending on where you get it from. It's the name of the shrine that you buy it from. And so you can get different designs. There's tons of different ones out there. I think there's one with a Disney design if you like Disney.
So you could have a whole collection then, right? Each year,
Yeah.
as you go to a different shrine or whatever, you could have it. I
Hmm.
also said that it made me think of luggage tags,
Hmm. Yeah,
right? How,
looks just like
yeah,
those.
yeah, that you could tie on a bag or whatever. But I like how they're all, and they're so pretty. That's another thing I think just about, Japanese culture in general is to us, I think things seem so intricate, right,
Hmm.
in the design and whatnot that they just seem beautiful.
Yeah. So you can just get one of these as just a general good luck charm if you'd like, or just because you think it looks pretty. But also there's specific ones like these over here, where if you've got something coming up that you might be worried about and want some good luck for, you can buy. So this one over here would be bought. It says for like a victory in like a sports game. So if you had a big sports game coming up at school, you could buy one of those, and it's supposed to give you good luck for that game. And then also this one over here is for passing a test. So the kids in Japan have to take entrance exams to go to high school and college. And so if they're worried about that and they're studying, they might buy one of these before the test, just luck.
Well, that makes sense, right? We always,
Mhm.
I'm sure that boys and girls out there can identify both with the sporting and the test of needing sometimes just a little extra boost, depending on what it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Joe, we had
Yes.
a question from one of our attendees. Is Omamori kind of like a keychain?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot like
Mhm.
it.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Great.
You
Thank you.
can just attach it to your backpack just like a keychain. I have some friends who have some at school would just walk around with them on their backpack. It looks very nice. Let's see. All right. So next is the postcard exchange that people do during the New Year's season. It's a lot like our Christmas cards. Families and friends will exchange postcards just with messages with that have well wishes for the new year and just talk about what's been going on in their lives. And a lot of times, this is where the kids get their gifts. But they tend not to get gifts and like toys and presents, but more of just these little envelopes full of money called otoshi dama. So otoshi means the year, and then the dama is money, so they're money for the year. And usually, each envelope has around 30 to $50. So kids who have like a multiple family friends or relatives can end up getting quite a bit of money. So it's a something kids always look forward to the most.
I'm sure. So Oto Shidama
Yep.
is the gift. All right. And I will talk about this a little bit when you're finished too. This was one of the activities we put on our website, was just a very simple kind of envelope type thing that the students could cut out and decorate, and that you could put a well wish in as well as some money. So
Hmm. Yeah. Let's see. And then next we have the foods that they eat for the New Year's. So they usually bring out a lot of special foods, a big set like this called osechi ryori, which is a bit difficult to pronounce,
mhm.
but it means just like a set of, you know, cooking or dishes. And so it's a display of traditional foods with soups, fruit, seafood, and rice. So as you can see here, there's soups over here, some seafood, and there's fruits kind of scattered around. And also, one food that they always eat on the New Year's is mochi, which is probably one of the most famous snacks or sweets made from Japan. And it's pounded rice baked with different fillings, which I have a picture of on this next slide.
Oh. So Heather Olson just put her comment in and said that she thinks they're like a sweet spring roll is what it makes her
Yeah.
think of. So yeah, and it's
Now,
mochi, right? Is that how you say it?
Mochi.
Okay.
this is Lori, and I've had them, and the texture of them they're not my favorite, but my daughter loves them.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're
Kind of
very, very
spongy.
chewy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're very soft and chewy. And they got these, you can put different fillings in them. There's different kinds. They actually have ice cream mochi, which is, I've had it once. It was actually pretty good. I liked it. But I actually have a video to show of how the fastest man in the world makes mochi.
How
So
he
I'll show
cranks
that real
out a
quick.
whole bunch of mochi, right? Okay.
Let's see. It's in it has subtitles. It's in Japanese, so be ready to read a little bit. Oh,
Okay, I have to say, I think that maybe I'd like to be the person with the pounding stick. I
yeah.
would not feel real comfortable being the person putting my hands in there. I don't know about anybody else out there, but that was
Definitely.
crazy.
Yeah. I've never seen anything that fast before, I don't think.
And
Yeah, and then
the
but it makes
green
sense. Oh, go ahead,
Yeah.
and the
Lori.
yeah, and the green color of the dough was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that I think that was probably matcha, like matcha
Mhm.
mochi. So they've got all different flavors
Oh,
and some of
yeah.
them, yeah, there's a green for matcha and there's a lot of different flavors, but I think that's what that one was.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Scary, but cool. So,
Yeah. All right, so I've got one more thing just to leave you guys with. I need to teach you how to say Happy New Year in Japanese.
all right, here we go, boys and
Yeah.
girls.
So they have a few different ways to say it. There's a very difficult way, which I'll just show you at first, but then there's a very simple way, just a
Oh, okay. I
shorter way.
like simple.
Yeah. So first, here it is in Japanese in the just their characters,
Mhm.
and here is how it's pronounced. It's akemashite omedetou.
Ah, okay, say it one more time for
Yep.
me.
Akemashite
Akemashite
omedetou.
omedetou.
Yep. Akemashite omedetou. So it means
Okay.
like opening, like congratulations, opening up. So they're celebrating opening the new year.
Oh,
But
okay. I like that, like opening a present. Yeah.
but that's very long and kind of hard to say. So the young kids in Japan kind of have not just young kids, but a lot of people just have a very abbreviated way to say it, which is
Mhm.
just ake ome.
Oh, ake ome. All
Yep.
right, all of
Ake
you at
ome.
home, I know you can do this. If I
Yeah.
get ake ome,
Ake ome. So just the first parts of both of them. Ake ome. So
just kind of
Happy
they're
New Year.
shortening it. I like it.
Yep.
Shorten it just a little bit. That is awesome. Ake ome.
hmm
All right, now you have a new way to wish people happy New Year this year.
Yep. And just to let you guys know, I'm a student at UNL in Lincoln, but at there I work at the Kawasaki Reading Room, which is where I started learning Japanese. So if you have any interest in learning more about Japanese or just want to visit, it's open to the public. And then here is our information for our Facebook, our library hours where we're located. So if any of this is of interest to you, you can feel free to write it down or take a picture of the slide.
And we
And
can also post that on our Facebook page too. Now,
yes,
I don't,
yes,
is
feel
the
free.
Kawasaki Reading Room open? I realize it's winter break right now, so it probably isn't open right now, is it?
Yeah, I think it's still closed right now.
And then once people go back to school, I suppose boys and girls just check before you go to make sure that it's open to the public at that time. Um, because of some of the restrictions, but I have never been and have always wanted to go. So this will be a
Yeah,
goal of mine. But so many resources. And I also know you guys do some really fun activities. There's tea
yeah,
time and you have some, I shouldn't say crafts because it's more than crafts, but you have activities that people can do on
yeah. We
certain
have
days and celebrating
quite a few
different.
activities. We have a week, yeah, the weekly tea time. We have tea on the Friday. This last semester we did take home tea time Friday since we had a
Hmm.
room capacity. We can have a lot of people in a room, so we'd give it
Right.
out and stuff. People stop by. But we've been planning different things, trying to get things in person if we can. But we've also been doing online events. Hopefully
Oh,
soon we'll
yeah.
be able to go back to seeing people in person more often. But if you have any questions about anything at all, please, you can, this email is very useful. It's the easiest way to contact us. Just send out an email about any question and we'll get back to you within a few days, at least once the semester starts and we're back
Right.
back
Once
at
everybody
things.
gets back on campus. Joe, thank you so much. That
Mhm.
was very interesting. And again, like I said, I think it was better than me sitting here and just reading things to people. So the pictures, plus I never ever would have been able to show such a fun video, I think. So that is awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for having me.
if you give me back control of the screen,
Mhm.
I have a poll, boys and girls. So you heard some of the different ways that some of the different activities that people in Japan might do for their celebration. So I always forget when I do this. I think this is how you'll see it. It's Japanese New Year's celebrations. I'm going to launch the poll, then you'll see it. But the question is, which of the traditions would you most like to do? Which of the traditions would you most like to do? Visit the shrine or temple before sunrise. You got to get up early. Receive a card with the gift of money, or eat the different foods. I'm going to give you a little bit of
Miss
time to make your choices.
Miss
Yes, Miss
Renee,
Lori.
what's your choice?
Oh,
What
I
would
think
you do?
I'd pick the foods. Money does not sound
Me
too
too.
bad, but I really think I'd like to experience all the different flavors and just I'm sure many things that I've never tried before. So I think that would be my
I,
choice.
I like the idea of visiting the shrine, but I don't know about before sunrise.
Unfortunately,
I'd like
that's
to
also
sleep
what I was
in.
saying. I'm sure it's very pretty. And in the pictures, it did look like there were a lot of people there, but
Yeah.
I kind of agree that I might be more on the food end of things. Oh, Connor says we can't see you, Miss Lori. Connor, you can see me though, which is super exciting, right? Oh, there, Miss Lori's coming. There she is.
Okay.
All right, I
I'm really
have
here.
85% vote. I'm going to give you just another few seconds to go ahead and make your choice if you haven't done
It's a
so
tight race,
already.
Miss Renee. A
It
tight
kind of
race.
is. Oh, I got one more there. Okay, I think we are pretty close because some of this includes our panelists maybe. All right, I'm gonna count down if you haven't made your choice yet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the polling. What is our winner? Oh, receive a card with a gift of money. Just barely. 37%. Oh, I didn't. I have to hit share results. There you go. Now you can see it. 37% would do a card with the gift of money, followed by the food, followed by the temple visit. I like it. Very cool. All right. Well, I was going to remind everybody too. I think this works if I hold it back. I can't put it too close because then it disappears. But this is our template on our website that you can cut out and decorate. So it's on the, oops, yeah, I have to be real close. I put it on my shirt. You can cut it out and you can make your own card. And look, if I do this, this card's to me. Look what I'm putting in my card. And then I open it up. Oh, I got $10. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I can go buy something. So this could be something fun that you do for somebody in your family. You could also write probably a very nice note or something to that effect too. So, all right. Well, we are going to move on to our next activity, and that is that we're going to talk with Colton Nelson, and he's a teacher for Lincoln Public Schools. Hi, Colton. He is a fan of origami and has shown me many things that I don't remember nor can do. However, he's very good. So he has agreed to teach us how to fold a jumping frog, and he'll give you way more information about that. I do want to say we have the template on our website. Again, go way back. That has just kind of a standard format that you can pick out. It's just a 6-inch by 6-inch template. There's lots of papers for origami. I know Colton will also probably tell you about that. But I will tell you this before we start. If you have this ready to go and you fold along, that is great. But I want to reassure you, as somebody who also struggles a bit with origami, this is being recorded, remember, so it will be on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it all over again for all of the benefits. And Colton also made a very cool video to help you do this. So if you get stuck and you get frustrated, I know he's going to show you a few times different folds and go back over. It's not just a one and done, but I don't want you to get frustrated. So you'll have options to be able to go back to this. And if you didn't have time to print out the template, then you can do that and do it later this afternoon on this really snowy day. So Colton, hello, how are you? Welcome.
I am great. And then I am ready to lead. So hopefully I can get this all set up.
I think you're going to be great. How long have you done origami, would you say? Do you have...
I've done it for about 3 years. So I actually didn't start until only 3 years ago, but now I can fold a lot of complicated things. So
that,
it's really
yeah. That is very cool. I tell you what, I'm going to turn off my video, but I'm still here. So if it's just so that I want to also follow along. So remember, guys, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. And I know that Mr. Colton will also take some time and good. And Diane just posted in our chat the instructions and the origami video link. So that will be important afterwards. All right, I will stop talking so Mr. Colton can get going.
So for everybody that's kind of here, I'm showing you the size of paper that I used. This is a 3x3, and all that means is that it's 3 inches by 3 inches. So if I measured it with a ruler, that's what it looks like. And if you compare it to my hand, that kind of shows you the type of paper that I usually use. And this is how small of a creature you would get, or a frog, I should say. So then if you bounce it like this, that's the overall goal, is that we're gonna have a frog that'll bounce. Now, the paper you're going to be using is actually going to be the 6x6. So don't get shocked. It's the 6x6. It's a square. And then the piece that I'm going to use is actually a 12x12. So that way you can kind of see what I'm doing. So don't be shocked if it looks like my hands are super small on this huge piece of paper, but it's just so that way you can see it, okay?
And
so
it's basically the same, right, Colton? The size of your paper, it's still the same folds and whatnot.
Yes, as long as it's a square, that's the important part.
Cool.
So I'm actually going to start off and I'm going to fold the entire thing. And this is what I want you to do as a student. I don't want you to fold it all. So if you have your piece of paper, set it to the side. And I just want you to use your eyes, because something someone taught me once when I was doing origami is to watch the whole entire process one time through. It helps your brain kind of start to understand where you're headed. So you're going to watch me fold one time through, and then we're going to actually do the folds together, okay? So here I go, watch me, and this is what it looks like. So to start, we flip the paper over. So we want to make sure our color side is flipped over. So then I fold it in half. I'm taking this huge, ginormous piece of paper. I try to match my edge to my edge. So this is an edge to my edge. And then this part is called creasing. So I'm creasing it. And I'm pushing my fingers down really hard on my paper, really pushing on that edge, and I creased it. Now I'm gonna take this edge up top, and this edge is gonna match this edge on my side. It's gonna make a triangle shape, so watch what happens. As I fold, it starts to make a triangle shape. And then here's that creasing thing I have to do again. So I take my fat fingers and I push really hard and I make sure it creases. There we go. I then open it back up because now I have my crease line. Sometimes what I do so I can remember where it's at is I'll draw with my black marker or my pen so I see my crease line. I don't know if you can see that well on the screen, so I'm going to scribble a little bit harder. That way you can see it. So there's my crease line for you. Now I'm going to take this edge now and do the same thing on this edge. So I'm going to take this edge right here and make it go to this edge. And I do it. It works. I start to crease it. Woohoo! I did it. And like I said before, I have done origami for about 3 years, but sometimes it takes time. So we just have to practice. And I've had to practice this one over and over until I could finally get it. And sometimes you have to take a break from it so you can see those crease lines. And when you come back to it, sometimes if you just take a little rest, maybe take a nap, take a day to sleep, sometimes you come back to it and it makes more sense. Now I flipped over my piece of paper. Here's the creases I made. And there's actually this triangle up here. and there's actually a triangle right here. And that's what I want to actually do, is make them match each other. So what I do is I flip the paper over. I'm going to show you those creases again. So there's the creases. And I want those two triangles to actually lay on top of each other. So you're going to see something called a squash. So as I lift my paper, if I push the middles in, it almost makes a pyramid. If you see that, give me a thumbs up. I know I can't see you, but hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to show it one more time. I start to push the sides in, and these triangles start to slowly push in. I pull the paper up, and voila, there it is. There's my triangle. Now I'm going to show it one more time, because that's one of the ones that some people say they struggle with. So I'm going to push this all down. What happens? We push in these sides, and the triangle will form just like that.
I think the way you said it sort of looks like a pyramid is a great explanation. As I'm watching, I can see that as you talk about the pushing in part.
Yes, and this is called a squash fold. So this is one of the folds that's really important. And squash just means paper on top of paper. So if you see this paper like this is on top of this paper over here, that's good, because that means you did it right. That's the goal. I always like to make the joke that this is my roof. And so then I have to make sure my house looks nice. So I actually fold this part up, this rectangle, up to my roof. So there's the rectangle, it folds up. And then this is the part where I lift my roof. I fold in my little sides of my house, because I couldn't afford to make my payments. They told me I needed to make sure that I was paying the right amount, so I got a smaller house.
You needed to downsize a little bit.
Yeah, downsize a little bit. And then
Colton, just real quick, we had a couple of people raise their hand, and I'm just going to ask them to please ask their questions in either the chat or the Q&A, rather than allowing them to talk. And that way we can find out what their question is and see if we can help them.
Hey, perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this piece in half. And so it kind of looks like an even smaller house. So when I'm at school, I always make the joke that I really, really was struggling to make those payments. So I decided to get an even smaller house. And that's okay. Sometimes you do that. And then me and my friend, we decided, man, we don't want to have to keep making house payments. So we kind of folded this part down, and he decided to live in a house with me. So then I have a roof, he has a roof. So I fold these little pieces down, these little corners, and it makes kind of two houses right there, or two roofs. Then what I do is I actually pull his roof apart. So I lift these little pieces, these little flaps. And what happens is as I lift them, I can push it down, and it kind of starts to look like a sailboat. So you're eventually going to see a sailboat in this. And if you get to the sailboat, you're almost done. And finally, this is where we shape the legs. So each one of these pieces right here is going to be a leg. So I'm trying to show you that really well. So this is a leg, this will be a leg, this will be a leg, and this will be a leg. So I'm going to fold this one down just like this. Yes.
Well, we had a question while you're folding down there. Someone wanted to know, how long does it take to get good at this? Because obviously this looks tricky to me, fun, but tricky, but they wanted to know, how long would it take to get good at it?
So just like with most things in life, to get good at something will take just a little bit of time. So if you practice for only a day, then you're going to be okay at it, right? If you practice for a week, maybe you'll get really good at it. Like you could actually start to build that skill. And for me, I've practiced almost 2 years or 3 years now. And so I'm actually able to make some things. Let's see if I can find something from my bucket. Some of my kids like to see some of these things. So I can make things that kind of like flap, like this one. This is my mini dragon. And some of these models or these ideas are kind of on that slideshow you'll get at the end, but I can make like little foxes.
So those are so tiny.
They are. So it's kind of like what I said. Once you understand how to fold it, you can fold it on any size of sheet of paper as long as it's a square. And then this is a unicorn.
Colton, does that have, I was just going to say, is that a unicorn with an actual horn? You fold paper so it has a horn.
Unicorn with the horn.
Oh my God, you guys, I'm just sitting here in amazement.
Joe Nakashima, he's actually really, really good at origami. So I learned from him. So he's actually really good. And I even mentioned him in the slideshow. So, yep. Should I just continue on then?
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah. And I know, I have a feeling boys and girls are probably going to watch and rewatch this. So I think it's neat to see, again, you're going, I think, at a good pace to see what we are
Perfect.
going to end with.
And so then here's what the legs are going to look like. So I kind of twist and fold. So once again, what I do, all I'm doing is I'm trying to look for about right here. It's not a perfect science, but I'm just trying to twist this and kind of leave some paper right there. And I'm trying to twist this and leave some paper right there because I want these little pieces right here. I don't know if you can see this little crease, but this little thing right here is going to help it bounce better. So the more of this you have going on, or the extra little flaps, the better, because it's going to be more springy. Then I'm going to twist this leg. It kind of looks like that. And I twist this one. And what my friends always like to tell me is if you do it really well, it kind of looks like it makes an X. So I'll try to show that. Oops, that started to stop focusing. There we go. So it'll make an X. So if I put this down, here's one part of my X. Here's the other part of my X. So that kind of helps you see that, hopefully visually, that it's going to make kind of like an X with the legs, okay? As I do that, I then fold it in half. I touch toes. My frog likes to do a little hop. So he touches his toes. Just make sure he's ready for his hop and he's flexible. And then on the back side, we fold this in half one last time. Your frog's going to be able to jump at this point. So if I bounce it just like this, so I'm going to push it down. And you have to make sure the tuchus, which is this part, goes over the legs like this. And if you do it right, it should bounce. So fingers crossed, there it goes. So it does work. So there it is. There's the frog. And now I want you to get out your piece of paper. And I'm going to take you through all those steps, okay? So I'm going to start over. I'm going to show you the frog one last time. There it goes. It'll jump. And I'm going to get out my new sheet of paper. Okay. So I'll switch it up on you. You can't hear me.
Yeah, I responded. We can. Is there anybody else out there that's having trouble? Because I can hear you. So I think maybe that participant maybe has a audio issue.
Okay.
So I think I have people who are saying they can hear. So I'll keep kind of monitoring that.
Okay, perfect. I just don't want anybody to miss out. I'm sorry if that's happening. Okay.
No.
With this sheet of paper, you all remember we have one piece of paper. If it has color on it, some of you might have color paper, flip it over. If you just have a regular piece of white paper, it's not a big deal. Just have your square paper. Next step, we're taking this edge, I'm touching it, and it's going to go to this edge. So I'm just going to take this side. It kind of looks like a rectangle. The edge goes to the edge, and they're touching. I can see that they're touching. It doesn't have to be perfect. I know that sometimes we try our best to be perfect, but that's not real. So just try to be as precise as you can. I'm not perfect, but I am close to being where the edges are lined up. So I'm going to push down over here now. So I'm going to take my fingers and slowly push down. You can use your nail. If you have small nails like I do, I use my nail. If you don't have small nails like I do and they're long, you might want to use more of your thumb or this piece of your finger. Kind of push, and that's called creasing. I'm going to do the next step. This edge right here and this edge are going to fold together, okay? So I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to match it along this edge. And remember, that's going to make that sort of triangle. So I'm going to take this edge to this edge. That's what it looks like. And then I'm going to crease it. Now I'm going to go back so you can see it one more time. I have this top edge, this edge here, and they're going to touch each other and kind of line up. So I slowly start taking this edge. I kind of push the paper over, and it's okay if you have an extra little piece here. I kind of have an extra little piece, not a big deal. I'm just going to slowly push and crease it. There we go.
Golden, I'm happy to report I have successfully made 2 folds.
Oh, I love it. Now, this is super important. Remember, after we do this crease, we open it back up. So when I say open it back up, after we crease it really nice, we go like that and just open it. You can still see my crease, This paper actually shows it really well, so you can still see my crease, but we're gonna have it be open now. I'm gonna take this top edge. It's gonna go to this edge now. So this edge is gonna go to this edge. I'm starting to try. I'm lining it up. And I found it. I'm gonna crease it. I'll show it one more time before I move on. This top edge goes to this edge. And I'm gonna push it down. Just like that. And I crease it really well. So some of you might think, man, he pushes on that paper a lot. It's because I have a thick paper, so I want to make sure it's nice and creased. If your paper's thinner, you might not want to push too much on it because maybe it's going to actually rip, but mine's kind of a thicker paper. You can see that X. That's what you want. I'll draw in my lines so you can see them. So this is what we want. There should be a crease. There should be a crease. If this is what yours looks like, you did it right. Awesome work. We're gonna flip it over just so we can see the creases on the other side. So when we flip it over, my X is now at the bottom of my rectangle. There's my X, bottom of the rectangle. I'm trying to draw in my black lines so you can kind of see it better, and I'll make them darker. There's my X. You don't have to draw these lines in, but I'm just showing them to you so you can see where you need to be at.
I think that's helpful too, because even the paper does show up quite well, but your marks kind of emphasize, I think, like you said, where they are.
So here is the bottom portion. All I'm doing is pushing with my fingers on this side part. And what's gonna happen is this triangle right here, and maybe if I drew in the full triangle so you can see it, this full triangle is gonna match up with this bottom triangle right here. And that's what we're trying to do, is just make those two triangles kind of meet up and make a pyramid. So I'm gonna push in the sides. And as I push, I might not have explained this, I take my thumbs and I kind of hold this part of the paper. It starts to make a pyramid. And as it does, I work my way up and I make sure I push everything down just like that. And I use all those little fingers, and voila, it looks just like that.
All right, I was pretty nervous about that move, but I'm going to say I did it. I think I did it, boys and girls. So
I'm going to show it one more time. So here's the X. Here's the top triangle that's on the lower half of my rectangle. Here's the bottom triangle. We're going to push in those sides. So I push with one finger or two fingers. So one here, and I push or pinch with my thumb here. As I push it in, that was easier than we thought. I'm so thankful that some of you said that. That's good. So as I push it in, there it goes. Now, the best part about this, if you can actually do a squash fold, you can do a lot of the advanced models that I was talking about. That's called a squash fold. So it might seem difficult, but if you can figure out how to do that, that's going to let you kind of do some of those easier ones, or some of those more advanced ones, I should say. So congratulations if you did it. If not, it's okay. I'm going to show it a second time. Okay. So I'll do another video and show it again. Actually, it'll be my third time making it, but you'll get to see me another time. Okay. So I'm going to move on. The next step, this bottom portion is going to push up like this to the bottom of my triangle. So I'm just going to fold it like that. I crease it really nice. And now I have a roof, and I have my little single style house. Awesome. Now the next part is kind of interesting. I don't know how they do this in real life, but I work on my roof by turning it to the side. I don't think they do that in real life. So I'm going to push this piece of my roof. I'm going to push it out of the way. So I take this flap. It's kind of a weird flap here, and I push it up and get it out of the way. After I push that out of the way, I can then take this edge to the center. So I'm going to try to draw that in for you. So here is the center that I'm aiming for. And I'm going to fold in my edges to that center line. And the reason it's important that you move that flap, it won't fold. The flap will get in the way. So I have to move that flap out of the way so it'll fold better. So I'm starting to fold into that center spot, just like that. That's what it'll look like. So I'm gonna take it back. I'm aiming for this spot right here. The crease will actually end up being here. The edge is here, and I push it into that middle, just like that. And I crease it nice and neat. Crease, crease, crease. And I put my roof back down, and I put my house back up. That's what my house now looks like, but I have to do it on this side, okay? So I'm gonna lift this flap. I'm gonna turn it so you can kind of see it again. I'm aiming for this middle part. This is where I'm aiming, and it kind of, there we go, now it's in focus. So I'm aiming for this middle part. I push the flaps out of the way. And I'm gonna take this edge to that center part. So push it in just like that. I crease it nice and neat. And if that was a success, you're gonna push your roof back down, and now you kind of have like a 2-story house. That's what it kind of looks like. It looks like a skinny, tall house. Hopefully you got those steps. I'm gonna try to refocus my camera because it was kind of getting weird. There we go. Now, this part, we have to fold back up to this top. It's kind of like what we did earlier. It does look like an arrow. Somebody said it looks like an arrow. Whoever said that, great idea. So this is my arrow or my house. We're taking this bottom portion and we're gonna put it up to this top triangle. So I'm gonna fold that just like that. Now we're almost to the end. This is the part where we're gonna make 2 more roofs or roofs. I'm not sure how to actually pronounce that. So now that I have this roof, I need to make a roof down here, okay? So I'm gonna take this edge, and this edge is gonna match this bottom edge. So as I fold it, it'll start to make a triangle. I'm gonna show you that one more time. The crease is gonna be right here. This is where it's gonna crease at. And this edge is gonna go to this edge. So I'm gonna fold it in just like this. And
One of our friends says it looks like a firework.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, that does kind of look like a firework. I like that one too.
And then squatty one.
The other side. Let's see if I can show that again. It really is struggling with focus with my hands moving so much. And then this edge right here, I should say this edge and this edge are gonna go together. So it's gonna be a triangle over here. So that edge folds down, and now we have our roof and a roof. I'm gonna show it one more time. This edge goes here. I'm gonna draw in my lines so you can kind of see where the crease should be. And it's gonna fold just like that. And now I have my 2 triangles. So if you've made it to the 2 triangle phase, we're almost finished. Awesome work. We're almost there. This is the part that I showed you where we have to kind of grab the other person's roof, and we're kind of pulling it apart. So I'm gonna pinch those 2 triangles that we just made, and I'm gonna pinch them like this with both my fingers. And as I pinch, I slightly pull. I don't do it hard. I'm not trying to rush. I just lightly pull. And as I lightly pull, the paper will come out just like that. And that's okay. It kind of looks like a W or an M. I just slowly pull that out, and I'm gonna slowly let it push down on itself. And I just push just like that. Now I'm gonna show that one more time so it kind of looks like this. There's my 2 triangles. I'm slowly pulling, and this is called releasing the paper. So I'm releasing it. I'm letting that paper go past these points. I'm releasing it. And then I'm kind of pushing these like bulges down. And as I push those bulges down, or those mountains, what happens is it starts to flatten out and kind of look like a boat. If you got to the sailboat, we're almost there. Nice job. There it is. There's my sailboat. Remember, this is the part where we're making the legs. So I'll take each one of these is gonna be a leg, each flap. So we had to make 4 flaps so we'd have enough legs. I'm gonna take this flap, and I kind of always like to put my fingers here to remind myself how it should feel. So I put my fingers here on that crease, so that way it's easier to make my flap. There goes my leg. I push it down. I'm gonna make my other bottom leg. So I put my fingers like that. I kind of twist. I don't pull too hard because I don't want to hurt the paper, but I pull and twist. And it kind of overlaps, and that's gonna make kind of an X at the end. So there's my leg. There's my leg. I'm gonna put them back though. Let's try it one more time. So the crease ended up being about right here. It's not gonna be perfect. It won't be the same as mine. All legs in the world are different. No one has the exact same legs. Your frog will have different legs than mine, and that's okay. So you're just gonna kind of put your fingers here to kind of help hold the paper. You push this side down. There's a leg, and you crease it. I'm gonna put my fingers here, hold it down. I pull and twist. Got it? Now I have to do my upper legs because frogs have more than just 2 legs. So I'm gonna take my fingers, hold them here, and I twist. And I'm starting to make that shape. There it is. Now I just need this other side, right? We have 1, 2, 3 legs. We're almost there. I'm gonna put my fingers down just like that and kind of twist like this. Now, if I twist it all the way up here, some of you might accidentally do this. Your legs won't be able to jump. So you can't have it be in the middle. You want it to go off that paper, just like that. So it should look kind of like this. It can also look like that over here. Somebody said it looks like a windmill. That's a really good description. You have really good visual awareness. So I'm happy you can see that shape. It's an X, a windmill, really good eyesight. That's what it should look like. Hopefully you made it. If not, I'm showing it again, so don't get upset. Take these bottom legs to the top legs. They're gonna touch because it needs to stretch before it jumps. So we fold it in half. And another way that you can look at it, here's the halfway point right here. So it's gonna fold right in half, just like that. My toes touch. I crease it really well. And this is the part where the paper gets really thick, so I really have to push. You can tell that it wants to spring already because it's jumping away from me already. There we go. Now this part, the back half is gonna fold in half one last time. So it's gonna fold right in half here. So I'm showing you where that crease line is gonna be at. Try to readjust my camera, there we go. That's what it'll look like. I'm gonna push in on this paper, and it's such thick paper that I use a lot of my fingers. So if you look, I'm kind of pushing like this, so it'll kind of get that paper to work with me. I push in like that. Almost got it. And it's okay if it goes crooked, as long as you have this part at the end where it kind of has this spring or this bounce. So I'm kind of showing you what a spring looks like. As long as you kind of have this, even if you mess up the legs, it'll still bounce. So don't get worried or upset. Even if you have this part, it should be okay. So once it gets to this part, it should be able to jump, but you have to make sure this tuchus or this behind right here goes over this piece of paper and the leg. So if it doesn't go over it, it won't work, okay? So you have to make sure it goes over the behind or the tuchus. So I push it back just like this. I make sure it's over the feet. It bounces. If you want it to jump higher, some people might want it to jump higher. You can actually fold the legs one more time, kind of like that. I take my legs, my back leg, fold it one last time, and that kind of adds another layer or spring. So you see how many layers there are now? So if you want to add extra layers, it'll give it more height or more jump. So if you look, mine kind of jumps a little bit higher this time. Whoop, just like that. I have to make sure when I push it down, I push like this so it goes over the behind, and then I kind of let it go. And there you are. That's how we do it. I'm going to show one more time. Here's my new piece of paper. So don't worry if you got it. Awesome. Make as many as you'd like. If you did not get it, I'm showing you again, okay? So we're going to start off with our colored piece of paper or white piece of paper. If you want the color to show though, you have to flip it over.
Colton, I'm going to interrupt you just for a minute. First of all, I'm going to turn on my video because I did it, guys. I really, really did it. Oh, it's okay. It's all right.
Oh,
But
okay.
your instructions were great and I actually made it. However, my observation is the 6x6 square that we had as a template on our website, it gets kind of tough to fold,
Got it.
right? It gets it's very, there's just a lot of layers and tiny layers to fold. So I would say if you are struggling with that, you could also because it just has to be a square, right? So it
Yes,
can be an eight
just a
by
square.
eight. So I would encourage you, if that's something that you're struggling with, you don't have to do the exact size that we put on the website. So that was just my comment. And I'm just super excited. It's the first origami thing I've ever made. So
Also, I'm going to show you kind of this. I don't know if you can see it well, but she said that you used printer paper, and printer paper is thick. So it might seem silly that something is so difficult to fold, but when it's thick, it makes it harder. So this is kind of like some actual paper. It's very flimsy. So origami paper is usually really flimsy. This is actually called scrapbook paper. So if you look at this, it's way thicker. So the stuff I use is really thick, like printer paper. But if you ever struggle and you can't get it to work, you might need to just use a thinner paper as well. So Renee is right. That is kind of a difficult thing sometimes. Let me flip this one over. Okay, let's see. So we started off, we have our piece of paper. It's a square. Square means it's the same measurement on each side. So if I measured this, it's 12, 12, 12, 12. If you have your paper, it might be 6, 6, 6, 6. That's a square. So now that I have my paper, I'm going to take this edge to this edge. I'm folding it in half. Looks just like that. I'm going to give you some time to fold it in half. I know that when I watch my videos, I can always pause them, but that's the one thing that you can't do to me is pause me. So I'm going to give you a little time to make this fold. I'm going to push that crease in. So if you're starting from scratch, or if you're making a second one just for fun, that works. So I'm going to take this edge to this edge, and it'll make this crease. When I was a kid, we used to call this a hot dog fold. I don't know if they still say that anymore.
that's funny. When I was teaching, that's what I would do too. Hot dog and hamburger.
So this was the hot dog fold.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm going to take this edge, and this edge is going to match up with this edge over here. So once again, it's this edge that I'm pointing out with my pen is going to match up with this edge over here. So it's going to make a triangle up at the top. So the crease is going to kind of be right along this spot right here, but it's this edge to this edge, and we're making a triangle, okay? So here's the next step. Pushing my paper down, I'm creasing it. And the best part about using all these different types of papers, once you get really good at it, is you can have some really beautiful designs, kind of like those things I saw earlier that they were sharing. Joe shared a lot of really cool stuff about Japanese culture. So there you go. There's that fold. Open it back up so you can see what it looks like. We want to crease right here. To get that crease, we took this edge to this edge. I push it down like that, and then I push my fingers, and that's called creasing. Got it. Next step, we open it up. We flatten it kind of out so that way it will do what we want it to do. We take this edge up here. It's going to fold to this edge, and we're making a triangle on the other side. So we made a triangle this way. Now we want to make a triangle the other way. So we're going to take this edge. It's folding down to this edge, and it made a triangle on the other side.
One of our friends, Colton, said that my frog leaped right off the table and landed on its back.
That's awesome. Something that I like to show, and some of the kids said that they actually know me because I've taught them before because I'm a substitute teacher. But one of my favorite things to do is actually when I'm at the school is to try to jump it from my floor up to my desk. But I always have to make sure that it's appropriate or an okay time to do that. That's how I know if it's a really good jumper or not. So then I actually take this edge, as you saw, to that edge. It makes a triangle. Just to double check you got both your triangles, that's what it should look like. There's both of my triangles. Now this is that part we talked about called squashing. Easiest way to squash, I'm gonna draw in all my creases so you can see them, is actually gonna be to flip the paper over. So just remember, it makes it a little bit easier if I take it this way so I can look at it from a different angle, okay? So I flipped my paper over. Hopefully you saw that. I have my X up here. My X is gonna go down to the bottom. And so now I'm gonna redraw that in because since we flipped it, it gets rid of my lines. So there's my X. And what I'm gonna do is push the sides in of my paper so I can get this triangle to match up with this triangle. And as I push in with my fingers, I use my thumbs to kind of push in as well. And it'll start to make like a pyramid. And I push even harder with my index fingers, and slowly, as you can see, it makes a squash. Now I'm gonna show that one more time. I push in with these fingers. My thumbs kind of push this part down, and then I can even use this finger if I want to kind of make that shape. So there's what it's gonna look like. As the paper lifts up, I'm lifting it, it'll start to make a triangle at the top. One last time, because I know that that might be the most difficult fold of the whole thing, okay? So I'm gonna push from the inside, and then I'm gonna lift. If you got that, that is the hardest fold of the whole entire thing. And if you can do that, you can do the rest. You'll just have to take some time. Maybe you'll have to look at the steps another day, but that is definitely the hardest fold, okay?
Colton, so many of our friends are having some success. They're jumping all over and having so much fun making their origami.
I love it. As a kid, I like, or well, not as a kid, but as like an adult, I like making the ones that actually move. So it's very exciting that they're enjoying that part. So I am a kid at heart though. So sometimes I say I'm a kid.
It's okay. I've had children ask me if I was an adult or a kid, so it's okay.
That's my personality is very kiddish. So then when I look down at this bottom portion, I'm gonna take this up to this top portion right here. So I'm trying to fold it in half. It'll have a crease right about there. I'm gonna fold that edge up to my rooftop. And it just kind of meets. I don't have to fold it over the top of it. I just kind of meet those little spots just like that. I'll show that one more time. So I open it up, and it's both portions in case somebody got confused and opened it up for some reason. It's going to be both portions. So I take this bottom layer. There is 2 pieces of paper, so it starts to get thicker, and I fold it up just like that. And I crease it really nice. This is that part where we talked about the roof getting lifted up. So I have to lift this part. I'm going to show it at a different angle this time though. So I lift this part up. I'm going to take this edge. If you want to add a tongue, you can. You can draw your eyes on your frog. You can do whatever you'd like to it. And then here's the center part. I'm going to fold this edge to the center line, but I have to make sure I lifted up that flap first. So I lift it up. I put this in. Just like that. And this is really thick paper, so I don't know if you can hear my fingers struggling. I have to push really hard. And I'm pushing, and I got it. That crease actually ends up going right about here. But we're folding to this spot in the middle. So this edge comes to the middle, and I fold it up like that. Just like that. Then I push my rooftop back down, and now I'm gonna do it on the other side, okay? So I'm gonna lift this piece up. Here's my other flap. I'm trying to get this edge to the middle. So I move that flap out of the way. This edge is coming into the middle. I push my paper down and I fold it down just like that. I'm going to take this bottom portion up to the top, just like that. I'll show that one more time. This bottom portion will come up to the top, just like that. And then this is the part where we make the roof. So now this edge will go to this bottom edge. That's one triangle. And finally, this edge to this edge, triangle. And I'll show it one more time just so you got it. It's this edge to this edge, just like that. And this edge to this edge, just like that. So you should have a roof and a little itty bitty roof. This paper doesn't show as well as the other one, so I'll try to lift it up so you can see it. There's my triangle. There's my other triangle. And then I'm gonna pull on my little bottom roof. As I pull, it'll start to open. I have to be careful not to pull too hard. I'm trying to make kind of this W looking shape. If you have the W shape, you're doing it right. After that, you push down on these little bulges. These are mountains. I want to make them go down. I push down those little mountains and it'll start to make a sailboat. So I push it down, got a sailboat. And finally, this is the part where we get to the legs. So I crease everything really good, push it all down. I'm gonna twist my leg, just twist it. You can make it whatever shape you'd like. Some people will make them kind of look like this. Some people make them look really straight like that. I like to make them look just like this. That's just my personal preference. I'm gonna twist this other one, push it down. There's my legs. I need to make my top legs, so I hold here, I twist and pull and push and crease. Same strategy, push my fingers down, grab my leg, pull, twist, and then I have to push on these crease lines, just like that. If you pull too hard, paper will rip, so just be gentle when you pull. There you go. That's what it should look like. Somebody mentioned a windmill. Other people have shown the X. A lot of different ideas there. You now need to touch the toes. We fold it in half. There's the toes touching. Mine toes don't even touch though, because I didn't make it so it matches up, and that's okay. Not a big deal. If it's a little off kilter like this, it's not going to ruin it. So don't get upset. Practice makes better. And then if you look up, this is the part we're trying to fold in half again. So we take this rectangle, we're going to fold this back portion in half one last time. And this is how thick the paper is. So it's 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers. It looks like 8 layers of paper that we're trying to fold. So that's a lot of layers. I start to push it all back. And I have my frog. It's official. It worked. Boop. But just in case you're like, man, it doesn't jump high enough, you can always take your frog, add 1 extra layer with this bottom foot. So I take the bottom foot and twist it one more time, bottom foot, twist it one more time. And there's all that thick paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of paper that make it bounce. So let's see what happens. I gotta make sure my tuchus is over my feet, because if this part isn't over the feet, it won't work. So if you just did that, it'll work. But if you don't have this part over it, it'll just kind of get stuck like this. So see how it gets stuck? So if you want it to work, you got to make sure this part pulls back over the feet, and then you let go. There's the frog. And that's actually all I have for today. So Renee, I think I'm finished. And Lauren, I think I'm done.
That
So
is
there's-
Oh, that was
awesome.
fun.
Thank you so much. I know that everybody appreciated. And look, Miss Diane did her. Oh, and you have cool paper too. I love it. Let's see. So
I have to
Colton, if
take the
you,
spotlight off.
Yep, take your, I guess, screen share. There we go.
Yeah, I was
Thank you.
spotlighting myself. There you go.
Oh, see, yeah, see, you know more than I do. That was awesome, boys and girls, and thank you for the for all of the comments as you were going along. I think that I know that Diane put in the comments the link so that you can go to our website and watch the video. And I know Mr. Colton showed it to you several different ways. I'm just so impressed with myself that I was able to do that. He's over here. He's not as fun looking, but maybe I'll color him or something. So
What's his
anyway,
name? Miss Renee, what's his
oh,
name?
well, Carl. Carl the hot
Carl.
dog. That's what I just decided. Maybe later today I'll write a story about him. Connor says his is Jeff. All right, everybody has to name their frogs. And remember, if you want to share a picture with us, have your parent or adult send it to our Facebook page, post it there, and we'll enjoy it. So we are over time. Thank you for sticking with us, guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because the last thing I want to tell you about is we have an international program where we have students from Japan join us for Bright Lights camps for students who are in grades 6 through 8. So if that is you, or maybe one of your siblings, or a cousin, or a friend, tell them about this wonderful opportunity. We have from 60 to 90 students who come from Japan, and then they join us for a week of Bright Lights camps. And that week for 2021 is the 14th through the 18th of June. And we do it at Lux Middle School. And registration will open up February 27th. So we are planning for in-person camps. You will be able to do so many fun activities. And we can't wait to actually see you in person. February 27th is when registration opens. And you can always go to brightlights.org to get more details. And finally, I just want to thank you for being here today. Remind you, we'll be back here tomorrow at 10. We are going to learn about some Spanish holiday legends and do some activities. Those those printouts are on our webpage if you want to go there, if you're going to join us tomorrow, so that you can download and print the printables. And I think that is about it. Also, please take our survey. You'll see this QR code here. If mom or dad or another adult want to use their phone to use it. Otherwise, you can also go to an email you'll get and use that link. Okay, thank you to Joe and Colton and Lori and Diane. It was good to see all you guys, and we just look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. All right, bye everybody.